From the Opopco Studios in Oklahoma City, you're watching the Press Row. Press Row is sponsored by Cox High-Speed Internet. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Barry Trammell, and this is our We Pick 'em segment where we look at 5 big college football games and tell you who we've got picked. Barry, let's start with this game, a Big Ten matchup. Michigan State at Nebraska. Spartans coming off that big one against Wisconsin. Who you got?
Well, you know what? I'm taking Michigan State. Nebraska's favored. They're playing at home, but I love the Michigan State defense. Now, that's a strange thing to say when it's 37-31 over Wisconsin, but I think State plays really good defense. I'm not crazy about Nebraska's offense. Huskers are banged up. Haven't been overly impressed with the Huskers. I like Kirk Cousins and Kid Nickel and the Spartans.
Well, and you bring up the fact that Nebraska is favored in this game, and everybody on our staff that picks games for the newspaper, we picked Michigan State without fail, which is pretty surprising. I picked Michigan State as well. You know, had they lost to Wisconsin, I don't know, maybe I change up my pick, but Michigan State does have great defense. I think they're going to handle Taylor Martinez even at Nebraska, so I'm going with State in this game. Our first one, and we pick them. Number 2 this week is an ACC matchup involving an undefeated team, and that's important around here. Clemson at Georgia Tech. Barry, who you got?
I've got Clemson, and I was all season long I thought Georgia Tech will beat Clemson. Georgia Tech will beat Clemson, but last week Miami just shut down Georgia Tech. And I'm not sure that Georgia Tech option is working efficiently this year. Now, Clemson's defense is not great. I think Georgia Tech will score, but I think Clemson will score on Georgia Tech. I know OU fans would love to see Georgia Tech pull the upset. I don't think Paul Johnson's team has it in them this year.
Yeah, Georgia Tech's really been all over the map. Some weeks I think that they've maybe hit a stride and got some things figured out, and then last week being a prime example where they just fall apart against Miami. I also am picking Clemson to win this game, to continue their undefeated streak, but you know, for people around here, Clemson's really not an undefeated team that, you know, for OSU folks, if you stay undefeated, you don't have to worry about Clemson. I don't think the ACC is going to be powerful enough to have Clemson jump OSU. You know, if you're OU, definitely you want them to lose, but I think Clemson wins at least this week. All right, number 3, another game involving an undefeated team of note around here. Stanford goes to USC. Barry, who you got in this one?
I got Stanford, but I'm not sold on the pick. I tell you, this could be the upset. Southern Cal playing much better, really thrashed Notre Dame last week. Stanford's built up a pretty good resume, but Stanford doing it all against the lightweights. Stanford not beating a team with a winning record. I think Andrew Luck's a phenomenal quarterback, but this is going to be a tough game. USC played Stanford tough last year. This has been a volatile series over the last several years. I think USC will play them very close, but I think in the end, Stanford wins.
Stanford's got a streak right now of 10 consecutive wins by 25 points or more. I think that ends this week, but I still think Stanford wins. I think USC's maybe their first really tough game of the year going to USC. I have a feeling they'll have a good crowd for this one. It sounds like ticket sales are really high. Now, there may be some Stanford folks that are trying to get in on the action too to get to see this game, but Stanford, really good team. I don't think I don't think they played the competition that's in the Big 12, but this is definitely gonna test them. I think Andrew Luck infuses his team though with a confidence that goes beyond just what he does. I think his ability gives Stanford, you know, a chance to win anywhere. I think they'll beat USC this Saturday. All right, let's go with the in-state games now. Here's an interesting one. Oklahoma State goes to Kansas State. Who would have thought the Wildcats are the undefeated team in this matchup, Barry? Who you got?
Well, and who would think that the higher-ranked team, Kansas State's a 14.5-point underdog.
Yeah.
I've got the Wildcats. I'm picking K-State in the upset for this reason. Been watching the Sooners all year long, and they finally got it into my brain. You really can't depend on them. They're inconsistent. They don't always come to play, and they're playing a team that always does. Bill Snyder will have his team ready. Now, I think it's possible that Oklahoma's superior speed and strength overpowers Kansas State. If Landry Jones gets that passing game going, I think the Sooners could put up a bunch of points on K-State. But Kansas State has proven that it hangs in games, plays tough, and the Sooners have proven that they don't always come to play. I think Kansas State wins in an upset.
Well, and you talk about inconsistent play. I'm going with inconsistent swinging in a positive way for OU. I think OU wins this game. It's going to be, I think, a really fun game to watch. You've got that Kansas State. They're just so solid in everything they do. They don't beat themselves. They don't make mistakes. And to me, that puts a premium on OU not turning the ball over and trying to get some turnovers from K-State, going back and trying to do some of the things they did against Texas to beat the Longhorns, really being an opportunistic defense. I think they go in upset about their performance and play well, but this is not going to be an easy game. This may be K-State's revenge for Oklahoma going to Manhattan in 2000 and beating the Wildcats then. All right, our last game involving our highest-ranked team in the state, Oklahoma State. Baylor comes to Stillwater. Who you got, Barry?
I got OSU. I think it's going to be a wildly entertaining game. Robert Griffin versus Brandon Whedon. Kendall Wright against Justin Blackman. The offense is supreme, but I think OSU's got more offense and the better defense. I think Cowboys will score a ton. I think Baylor will score a lot, but not enough to keep up with OSU. I think the Cowboys win it.
Yeah, I do too. And it is the Baylor defense to me that is the difference in this game. They're just not to the level that their offense is yet, or the level that OSU's defense is yet. I think Baylor in a lot of ways is OSU just a couple years behind where OSU is right now. They have yet to recruit those great defensive players that can really start to make a difference, like a Sean Lewis at the linebacker position. So I think you see OSU win this game, but I do think there'll be a lot of points scored. Although last year I thought it was going to be a great game in Stillwater when Baylor came to town, and Barry, it was a rollover for OSU. But I think this will be fun to see what RG3 does with the Cowboys, and on the other side, what Brandon Whedon and Justin Blackman do with the Bears. Hey, be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.